Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yes. My name is Gal. I'm originally from Israel. I am now in Boston, and I'll be seeing you
All right,
on
great.
the weekend.
Fantastic.
So I just, this morning I'm seeing everything that's happened. As always, every morning in Israel, something sucks. And I'm reading the local news there, and like the amount of propaganda has always been there. But I just wanted to read you something that is just so crazy and just shows you like the amount of propaganda that they put on the Israeli people. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm reading because I couldn't find it in English because they will not put it for English reading people. So this is only from the Hebrew website. So I'm going to just try to translate it while I'm reading it. So Secretary of Defense, Gideon Sa'ar, blames the Palestinians of blood libel about Israel. So they're already like winking towards anti-Semitism. The facts are that there was military, they were taking, I'm sorry, it's kind of hard.
Okay. You're doing good.
Okay. So they say they go into Jenin to take suspect of terrorist acts, whatever that means. So they say from there was a lot of killers coming out and killing Israeli people. Again, it's so like, and then they say it was very viable for us to go in there. The Palestinians, in their ways, are quickly again, he says again, like quickly doing blood libels about the IDF. Exactly 20 years ago when they did the blood libels about the operation that was there in Jenin. And then he says, by all our investigation, there is indication that she was not the press. I don't remember her name. I'm sorry. That was killed. She was hit by Palestinians and not by the IDF. Obviously, they don't give any explanation for that. And there was. Yeah, of course. And there was a call for investigation, pathological investigation with the Palestinians, but they do not want to let us do investigation by ourselves because they maybe want to hide the truth.
Right.
And it's just, it's just terrible. I will go off the air to let you speak about it.
I have a question for you.
Oh, okay.
Yes. How long ago did you leave Israel?
I left 4 years ago. I've lived there 30 years. So basically when I was 30, I escaped that hellhole. Since I've been out, it's so much easier seeing outside of like the indoctrination and socialization and propaganda that we are blasted with since the day we are born. It's so crazy how it's ingrained in every little aspect of our lives. And, I was there, unfortunately, a year ago in May, exactly when the operation, quote unquote, was going on. And, missiles are falling and I'm going into arguments with my dad. He's like, well, it's better for Palestinian children to die instead of our children. It goes to, and I'm talking about Palestinian rights and occupation and go back to, 48 and talking about them, about history. And he's just like, and this is classical, something that they say in Israel for everybody that's tried to protect and talk about Palestinians. And they're like, well, go live in Gaza with your friends. And even that my dad didn't say, but a lot of people say, well, go fuck Arabs, stuff like that. And you're a traitor and you should be hanged and stuff like that. That's the way talk goes in Israel.
I don't know. You've had 15 years, 16 years maybe of like sort of like, semi-adult awareness of how the politics are going. But what did you notice any, the direction that things are going in there? I mean, like I think
it's just basically a constant, it's constantly been happening. I think I am more aware of it as a grown-up and being outside of it. But it's just, it's constant ethnic cleansing. They keep, of course, they build more settlements, but just as the, amount of hate grows in the Palestinian people and, just teenage people that are so desperate come and they try to stab one soldier and then they shoot them and, they die and they don't think about why do this little kid came and tried to stab the soldier. It will do nothing. They don't talk about psychological effects on the youth and anything. So the hate grows there. And then, the repercussion is the idea of soldiers and all the military basically saying, look, there's so much terrorists coming out of there, so we need to do more action. It's like, and they try to start it, they go to the Temple Mountain, to Al-Aqsa, and they basically start it, but they only show it afterwards as, oh my God, they're bombing their own mosque. And it's like, no, they're trying to protect. And, from the bombs that are coming, it's just, I think they're trying to broaden, they're trying to push it more and more, push them outside more and more and more. But it hasn't changed.
What about Israelis your age? Is the attitude more or less the same?
It's very difficult because, the real activists that go out there, it's a very small amount. And again, because even good friends of mine, they consider themselves left, but they're also very, they're Zionists. They believe in what the Jews deserve after the Holocaust. It's very, very hard because there's been, again, so much indoctrination from the minute we were born. So there is no real left, obviously, in politics. And, all the grown-up liberals, they think, obviously, that they're left, but obviously they're not. And so, young people, they're not really waking up to this because there's also so much other troubles in Israel. They're thinking about their immediate needs, about, there's just a lot of terrible things going in Israel anyway. So, they're just like, whatever, that's out there. It's terrorist and we don't care about it. And we have, a really bad economy and things going on.
Well, that part's kind of universal, right? It's a lot of people, I think, have a hard time seeing through state propaganda because they're worried about, their own personal lives, their relationships, their job, etc.
Yeah, and I don't want to defend any Israeli people. I think 90% of them are crap, really terrible, terrible people. But I do want to say that, again, it's really, really hard because when you look inside the constant socialization of this and doctrination, you understand where all the hate and the bigotry and the racism comes from. But then again, it's like they have to do more, but they're just not aware. They don't care. They're too tired. Everybody knows somebody that died. And of course, the Holocaust is bombarded into our mind again since the day we were born, basically. And we're the chosen people because of the Bible. And there's so much that they're just, they deserve it. And we're the best. And this is our land. So,
Well, I appreciate the call.
Yes.
Go.
Thank you for the insight.
I just became a member today, and I just called for the first time. So thank you so much for getting my call. Yay!
Thanks for the call. See you in Boston.
And see you in the Wilbur.
See you there.
Bye.
Bye.
Just
it's very, very helpful to have that kind of insight too. I mean, I'm obviously not Jewish, and I've never been to Israel, but and I'm not Israeli, so I don't know. But
I definitely think the country has has moved to the right, certainly over the past 40 years, without a doubt, in my mind. I think a lot of the people, like that caller, and older, have left the country. And I think, the things that contributed to this, also the influx of a lot of Russian emigres into the country, that were brought in to basically become facts on the ground in the West Bank. In my experience, folks from Russia can go in one of two directions. You're raised in an authoritarian, because I'm talking about these were people coming out of the Soviet Union, in the 80s, in the 90s. You're raised in a totalitarian society. It impacts the way that you perceive threats and non-threats, or how easily you are told certain threats. And also, you have the opportunity to leave, and we're talking about 1 million, I think, close to 1 million emigres, I think. And you're given land. It's not yours, but you're given an opportunity, and you want to make sure that no one takes that from you. And that was what the game plan was all along.
It historically, it just surprises me that Israel has been so strident on this, given the example of South Africa, and it's almost as if like they're not worried about what happened to South Africa. Maybe that's because South Africa upset their sort of like great power allies by like siding with the Nazis during World War II and stuff like that, and Israel like still feels safe in that regard or something. I'm not sure what the difference is, but it's shocking.